the change in approach in terms of investigations in the House of Representatives over the last few years is in large measure due to the leadership of Judicial Watch. James Comer, who is head of the Oversight Committee in the House, he's one of the three chairmen that have begun an impeachment inquiry that was authorized by previous Speaker McCarthy. He joined Judicial Watch, and my colleague Chris Farrell, who runs our investigations department, he's also on the board of directors of Judicial Watch. And so, Mr. Comer's been doing some good work. He's very articulate and direct about talking about what he's been finding. And but you can see, Chris had some good questions for him. Let's go to a part of the discussion that Judicial Watch had with Mr. Comer the other day.
Speaker McCarthy went out of his way to attempt to block Judicial Watch from getting all the January 6th videotapes that we're suing in federal court over. We found that astounding. We could understand Pelosi trying to block all the January 6th videotapes, but we found it quite disturbing that Speaker McCarthy jumped on board with her and said, yeah, don't release them to the public. The American public doesn't need to know that, doesn't need to see those videos. We found we hope that the new speaker will take a different approach on that, because it's our position that every single second of January 6th video, the American public has a right to.
No, I agree completely. I think we should release the tapes. I think Mike Johnson has said he would do that.
Good. Good.
And let me say this about Judicial Watch. As chairman of the House Oversight Committee, I appreciate everything you all do. I follow you on Twitter.
Good.
We read everything you do. You all have been more successful in getting a lot of documents through your FOIA lawsuits than we have, which shouldn't be that way. That's how bad the administration's blocking us. But
we'll try to help you.
Well, you have helped us a lot, and we appreciate the great work that you all do. It's been very beneficial to us. We've got to cut spending, and I can't think of a better place to start than the weaponized government, than Merrick Garland's weaponized Department of Justice, than Chris Wray's weaponized FBI. So,
amen.
Look, there's not a number too steep for me on cutting the Department of Justice.
When are we going to see some Biden family members giving live testimony in front of your committee?
Very soon. Jordan's doing the depositions. He had the deposition of Brady this week. He's going to be hopefully bringing Weiss in for a deposition. We would like to do the same with the Bidens. Now, look what we found in the last 3 weeks. In the last 3 weeks, we found a wire from China to Hunter Biden that listed Joe Biden's address as the beneficiary. We found the $200,000 check that you referenced at the beginning of this interview. We found another check that we're trying to trace. We're getting bank records in every day from the subpoena I issued almost a month ago. Once all these bank records are in, which hopefully be in the next week or so, we're going to trace every source of revenue that the Biden family had. And then we're going to bring them in and say, how did you get this $3 million from China? How did you get this $1 million from Ukraine? What did you do to get the $3.5 million from Russia?
So that was a good discussion with James Comer, and let's hope he does what he promises to do. Did you catch that piece of news? We talked about last week that there was a $200,000 check that, according to Comer, was tied to seemingly shady financial operations involving the president's brother and Joe Biden, the $200,000 check written to Joe Biden. Now, the Biden gang has said, oh, that was a loan. It was legit. Comer wants to know, well, how was it legit? Where's the loan documents? Give us details. Tell us, because it sure didn't look legit. And now there's another check. So look to that next week. I mean, you can see how the House, and I think, I want to take a step back here. Chairman Comer talked about how important Judicial Watch's work has been. Let me just say this. The House needs to do much more. We're all agreed there. But the change in approach in terms of investigations in the House of Representatives over the last few years is in large measure due to the leadership of Judicial Watch. They had seen what Judicial Watch has been doing since day one on so many of these scandals. They see how Judicial Watch has been getting documents that Congress hasn't been able to get. Their supporters and their constituents have been saying, why aren't you doing what Judicial Watch does? And now they're trying to do what Judicial Watch does. So to the degree they do that, the better. But the more is the better. And as Chris said, we got to get people in, witnesses, and move this investigation and this impeachment effort in ways forward that not only include Biden, but as COMER said, they need to defund the deep state, namely the Justice Department and the FBI. And I talked about these appropriations bills earlier. I don't think the DOJ appropriation has passed yet. So I'm not even sure what the House's position on this is. Forget about using the CR to defund Jack Smith. Are they going to use the appropriations bills that are coming up in the next few weeks to defund Jack Smith directly through the ordinary course? You should ask. 202-225-3121 is the phone number of Congress. And there's so much more to be done here. And frankly, given the corruption at the Justice Department and the FBI, it should be a 7-alarm fire at the House in terms of getting people in, holding them to account, putting them under oath, doing everything within their power to ensure accountability. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.